Hey there everyone, it's Brave here. This is part 2 to the other video that was already uploaded, which was Sex is Not Love. Okay, so that other 13-minute video was the first part, part 1. Now this is part 2 of that. Okay, thank you. So just to make it clear, my channel's very new. Like, share, subscribe, help me grow the channel if you like the content. If you don't like the content, no problem, you don't have to do anything. And I'll be talking about many different topics in this crazy thing called life, and I'll also be talking about my own personal experiences. So there'll be a lot of story times of me talking about myself and things that happened to me, and maybe someone out there can either relate or they can take something away that is positive or useful to them. Okay, so here we go. So like I said in the other video before, I was talking about how this teenage boy, when I was a 18-year-old teenager and he's 18, and he's trying to convince me not to wait for marriage to have sex after marriage, because I told him I was brought up Christian, and even though I'm from a crappy, rubbish, broken home, I want to cling to that idea that marriage before sex is the best thing, right? And I also kind of thought that I shouldn't live with a man before marriage as well. So this teenage guy who heard I was a virgin and we worked in the same sports shop, I didn't know, but he made a bet with his friends that he could bag the virgin, if you get what I'm saying. So I am the virgin and he is the dumb idiot who's trying to, waste my time and take away something sacred, Anyway, so me being, young and naive and not realizing he's tricking me, I, invited him over to my home when my, family's away for a couple hours, because I'm thinking we can just be normal and have boundaries, and he can watch some DVDs with me and we'll talk respectfully and he'll have some pizza or whatever. That's why I invited him over. Had no thought in my head that we're going to do anything intimate, not at all, because I was a virgin, so I didn't know what that even was, So and then I had lots of like half siblings and male friends and stuff, and we were always respectful, so I was used to being around a lot of males more than females. And so for me, like being around my male cousins and half brothers or step brothers, it was like, I didn't feel scared to be around a load of males, being the only girl. Anyway, so then he's at my house and he's trying to convince me that, how can you not live with someone but you're going to marry them, and then you have no idea if they're going to be good in bed, or you have no idea if they're a good person, you're going to be trapped. And I just thought, yeah, but this is the way I think it should be, because this is what the Bible says, or this is what, people have said, and no one's following it, but I'm going to try and follow it, And then, but then he's trying so hard to convince me, and then I'm sort of, he's actually getting me a little bit like insecure about my own feelings now. I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe he's right. Maybe I shouldn't wait till marriage. How am I going to know if that person I marry is a good person or is good in bed? Maybe it does make a difference. Oh, now I'm getting confused now. So he's ground me down over the couple hours he's been talking at me. And so then we end up being intimate. That's all I'll say. And then it was very rubbish. Now I'm an adult, I'm aware that moment was rubbish. He's a dumb teenager. I don't know what I'm doing. He don't know really what he's doing. And so I was very like empty and annoyed, like, wow, that was not worth my time. And now I feel sullied and disgusting that I let this person even look, touch me, let alone, yeah. So I was very annoyed. And I also feel like he was tricking me by saying, like, well, we can get engaged and we'll be married, and and I looking back, it was so obvious he was tricking me. But being a young, naive 18-year-old, I really didn't, maybe part of me knew he was tricking me, but I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to be wrong. You know what I mean? Even though my intuition was like, come on, this idiot is tricking you. But, women, I think women can relate to that feeling of, I want to believe his lies. Let me just feel good in the life for a moment, like, oh, you said you love me, oh, brilliant, great, thank you, I want to pretend that you love me too. So I'm sure women can relate to that. I mean, I'm sure men, you know, to some extent, if they really fall head over heels for a woman, will have that feeling of, damn, I know she's lying to me, but she looks damn good in that dress, or, you know, come over here and lie to me some more. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I let my guard down. Ugh, I don't know. Really big regret. And so then when I did, you know, decide, okay, I'm not gonna go with anyone else. I'm gonna stay pure now. Because in my mind, I was like, he doesn't count. I'm still pure. I don't need to tell anyone about this terrible regret. So I didn't, you know. And when a whole year went by and I didn't let anyone talk to me or touch me or whatever, and then I decided when I met uh, a next guy who was a lot older, like 10 years older, and then I thought, this one better be marriage or I'm not interested, you know. And then it did end up being marriage, but the person was extremely controlling, extremely bossy, very uh they had bipolar, mental issues, stuff I didn't know about. And so that was a, you know, kind of reminded me, like, oh, didn't that other stupid teenage guy say, well, if you don't live with someone before you marry them, you won't know all their secrets and it will be worse because you'll be trapped with them. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't know he had to take antidepressants every day. I didn't know he could be cold and cruel and nasty. You know, I didn't know he had this really brutally honest way of talking where he could bring you to tears just by being brutally honest. He would like bring people to tears. I had to apologize on his behalf so many times to so many people just because he was so blunt and rude. And you know, I always had boundaries about what I say, but if you're rude to me, I will destroy you, like, with my words. I don't have any problem destroying you with my words if you wrong me first. You have to wrong me first. Like, I won't hit someone unless you hit me first. Do you know what I mean? If you say something crazy, I'll say something crazy back, but you must do it first. Do you understand? I never ever go out of my way to bother anyone. You have to say something crazy to someone else in my presence or me. You understand? So I will jump in to protect other people. I don't have a problem protecting other people. And people say, oh, it's not your fight. No, I don't care. You're bullying this person in front of me, or you're saying something racist in front of me, or homophobic or sexist or whatever. I will jump in and tell you to stop. And if you won't stop, then I will bombard you with negative stuff to show you what it feels like, to give you a taste of your own medicine, you see. So yeah, so basically what I want to come back around to is why I feel sex is not love. Now, that guy was just a young guy. He's 18. He claims he'd been with 4 other girls before me. I don't know at what age. And he he was clever enough to know that saying I love you is going to make me turn to putty in his hands and wrap me around his finger. He weren't even the best manipulator, and that's what's so annoying. I'm clever and intelligent, and even I allowed myself in that moment to be manipulated. And the reason I say sex is not love is because when I was that young, I really did think, why would a man approach any female if he didn't love her? I know that sounds ridiculous, but I really thought, if you want to have sex with me, you clearly must have connected with my soul or something. Like, it must be fate. It must be, you know, it was so silly to think that, but I really did think that. And when I was doing like, I don't know, you know, when I was within my marriage and I was, you know, doing some kind of like party or social event or something for, you know, friends and family, and I would watch other people and I would see how everyone would get drunk, everyone would just need anybody to just drag off to a bedroom. And I used to think, wow, like, this is so sad. Look how broken we are as a society, that no one's looking out for each other's best interests. No one is trying to be deep and connecting with anyone. It was just the same old culture, repetitive culture of let's get drunk and go off with someone, and then you knew you were going to regret it the next day. You knew you were going to feel disgusting the next day if you didn't like that person. You know, if you had no genuine good feelings apart from, you know, trying to have intimate, stuff with them for one night, and then and then another thing that I didn't know and wasn't made aware of by the adults around me was just the fact that males are so much better at detaching themselves emotionally from females. Like, it was scary to me how a guy would be begging you to be with him, and then as soon as that thing was over, it was like, get out. And you'd be like, I'm sorry, what? And they'd be like, there's the door kind of attitude. And you'd be like, son of a, like, you'd be so hurt and so shocked. Like, even if I didn't want to marry you, why am I going to mistreat you just because that intimate stuff has now ended? And yeah, it was extremely like painful to go through that, and a lot of trial and error. Like, when I left that marriage, and then I did have a few rebounds where maybe go out and get drunk and make a mistake with someone you don't like, and then I started to want to act like the males kind of thing. I wanted to be detached and rude, like, okay, well, it's over, get out. Oh, can I get some food? No, there's a McDonald's on the corner. Oh, can I use a toilet? There's a McDonald's on the corner. Like, I wanted to be mean because I felt like men had used me when I used my love, or took advantage of my kindness. And oh, it was just weird. Like, and I'm really like an emotional person. Like, I will pour my heart out to you, and I would expect you to be protective over the fact that I've trusted you to tell you my traumas or my thoughts and feelings, and I would want you to feel comfortable to trust me and tell me your traumas and feelings and your dreams and hopes and whatever. And it was just so weird to me how you couldn't, I rarely met anyone who would care to hear your story, let alone who you could trust with your secrets or trust with your, like, it was just so soul crushing, the seeing the emptiness, the societal, what was accepted by society now was just gross. Like, the whole dating scene and the way people actively went out to just use others. It was very strange, and everyone was okay with it, even though deep down they weren't okay with it, because everyone secretly was like, oh, I feel empty, oh, I feel sad, you know. But at the same time, to soothe that sadness, they were just throwing themselves at the next person to try and feel better, to get over the last person. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like weird to me how, like, people wouldn't step back and say, wait, I need to build up my self-esteem, I need to make sure my boundaries are rock solid. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Doesn't matter how good they look, or how much money they have, or how many drinks they bought you, or how many dinners they bought you. You need to be clear with your boundaries, and obviously alcohol is going to take away those boundaries, take away, you're going to lose all your inhibitions, lose all your boundaries. So I mean, yeah, like the amount of mistakes I made while drunk, and I can't say, oh, I'm blaming alcohol. I chose to drink the alcohol, but at the same time, why are people taking advantage of someone who is obviously made the mistake of taking too much alcohol, drinking too much alcohol? You are a bit creepy seeing that person vulnerable and not wanting to help them. You were like, oh, look at this woman. If a male says, oh, look at this woman falling about, smashing her head into the brick wall because she's so drunk, and you think, I'm going to use her intimately and then throw her away, and you didn't think to take her somewhere safe, let her sober up, or get her to her home, or like that really is a sad regular occurrence in the city I grew up in. And it was like happening from a really young age. Like, even 16-year-olds were like finding ways to go to parties that were for 21-year-olds, or they had fake IDs, or or they're just buying alcohol. They're finding ways to be part of this gross, I don't know, what do they call it, hookup culture, we call it here. I don't know what you call it in other countries, but yeah, it's just such a weird thing that has become the norm. Like, what happened to the idea that you want to find the one, or if they're not the one, just someone who you look after them and they look after you. and there's no companionship, there's no friendship. It's just like, what can I get out of you? How can I use you? Like, why is that people's first intention? Or why? It's just so stressful. And like, the only time I kind of felt powerful with men is during that little window where they were like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful, I have to have you," kind of thing. Then for a short window, I was like, "Ah, now I have the power. Now you are chasing me because I have something you want, and I'm." But then the second it was over and you give in to them or whatever, no matter how long you make them wait or not make them wait long, whatever. I'm not judging anyone who doesn't make them wait a long time, because I've made that mistake. But yeah, it's so frustrating how the power then it just defaults back to the man automatically as soon as he got what he wanted. Unless he really cares about you and doesn't want to make you feel like crap, they will always just be like, okay, on to the next. And you'll be like, what? Oh, you didn't care about me. And it's like, no, this was a one night thing, and I'm not even gonna, and then another weird thing that's become the norm is the F buddy thing. I don't know, I don't want to be too graphic, but the thing where people who don't want to be together claim that they're just going to be intimate for that human need, that basic human need, but they're not going to ever be a girlfriend or boyfriend or a husband and wife. They're not going to have kids, whatever. That is a weird thing, because on one hand, you're saying you're not going to have any emotions or anything, but if you're drinking or taking drugs, what's to say you're not gonna get the woman pregnant at some point? You're not, and then are you using protection? Like, that's another weird thing. I don't understand people who don't want to use protection, because like, why don't you care about yourself? Like, when did it become cool or fashionable to not wear protection and not care about yourself? And like, there's almost this weird self-destructiveness that people are like, oh well, I can get a terrible, you know STD and not, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just take a pill. Yeah, but why would you want to catch it? Why would you, like, that is so strange to me. Like, people should have self-preservation in mind, to preserve yourself and keep yourself from getting these things if you can. Like, contraception is free in our day and age. Imagine, like, way back in, like, the, I don't know, the Victorian days or the old days where there was no contraception. Women had to be pregnant nearly every time their body would allow it. So I remember, like, Queen Victoria of England, she had so many kids, and that was because her body, she would just be pregnant as much as her body would allow, and she obviously was very fertile, and she was just pregnant all the time, and she hated it. She said it made us feel like an animal, like a farm animal, just, giving birth all the time. And obviously she's, giving birth is traumatic, and she said she felt like an animal, in those moments. And there was no, I think they used chloroform a tiny bit to try and dull her pain, and she was for that because the pain was just too much. And before that, I don't know how these poor women coped with no meds and no, oh God, I'm so glad I don't have kids. Yeah, because I don't need to be going through that hellish experience. But yeah, like, it's so weird to me how, you know the dynamics between males and females is so off. Not saying that people can't find love out there, but it's just not straightforward. Why are human beings making it so complicated? I don't understand. Like, even when people go on a dating app or something, the way they speak to each other is just disgusting. Like, I remember I went, on some free dating app, not even to date, just to make friends, and I don't know why that should be so hard, because if you're just on this little thing and you can talk to people and say, hey, how are you, what are your hobbies, why is that lame? Like, they were making out like, because I didn't want to send intimate photos immediately within the first few seconds of saying hello, they were like, oh, that's lame. And I'm like, no, you're creepy and lame, because why are you so boundaryless and like a weird heathen? Like, you have no boundary, no respect, no manners. You don't say hello, how are you? You're demanding dirty things, which I found I found it hilarious, but also really sad, because why are they so, you know, why are they so just not decent? Where's the decency? Where's the common decency? You know, just because you're behind a screen, I mean, behind a keyboard, you're using a phone and you're not seeing the person face to face, you should have the same respect and boundaries you would have if that person was in front of you, in my opinion. Like, I found that really bizarre that people didn't seem to think there was a problem with them saying the most gross, disgusting things that they would never say to your face, because they would get a slap or 10. So yeah, I found that really weird. So just to make it clear, like, I'm aware that expressing love during sex between a loving couple is love. I'm not saying that that is not love. What I'm talking about is basically people going out and trying to hook up with people, and sex is the first thought in their head. They're not considering the person is, if they're a good human being. They're not trying to get to know them. They don't want to get to know them. They just want to use that part of them and then throw them away, or use only that intimate part of them long term, and have no responsibility of getting to know them or caring about them. And I think that's wrong. And that's what I mean when I say sex is not love, because you can have, you know, someone could go and have sex with someone they've paid. Where's the love in that? It's a mechanical act. There's no love there. But at the same time, you know, you could fall in love with someone, I guess, without them even touching you. Like, I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. It's not cut and dry, and it's not black and white. It's complicated. There's many different strands of opinions. People can have a lot of different ways of seeing these things, but I don't know. I just thought, let me just give my little story time about it. So yes, that's the end of this little bit. And if you like any content you're hearing on my channel, I would appreciate if you like, share, subscribe, and have a great day, and God bless. Bye for now.